Thank you for tuning in to the next episode of Time Traveler's Handbook. Today we're going to finish our analysis of Tenet, and as always, there will be spoilers. There's one final point that I want to make about this type of traveling backwards in time causal determinism mechanic, and that is that you can take advantage of the fact that people move backwards in time to imply that there are people and objects far in the future that are affecting the past. Really, from what we've already discussed, there are set points in the past and in the future where the conflict begins and ends. There will always be a last time that someone goes backwards in time, and the implication there is exciting because at the end of the movie you know that the protagonist was the one that was pulling the strings all along. He just didn't know it yet because he hadn't gotten there yet. The futility of someone going back in time and trying to change things does seem a little pointless because their whole philosophy of being able to destroy things in the past to make a better future just doesn't work in the universe that they live in. The story that is being told is told forwards and backwards, and everything that happens in the story is the end of a conflict and a beginning. And everything that happens in the story is the end of a conflict and a beginning. Taking advantage of this is something that can be very useful in writing about the same kind of mechanic and time travel in general. There's always going to be something in the future that is making a threat to the past, as long as there exist ways in the future for people to go to the past. Utilizing this chain of thought can help bring completeness to a story, and I really like the structure of Tenet and how, even though we start out knowing basically nothing, and this is really the end of a conflict rather than a beginning, the progression of the protagonist is forward in time from his perspective, and the end of the conflict is going to be at the end of his line, and this is really the beginning of his journey through this backwards universe. And if you're going to make a movie about people traveling backwards in time, like it was in Tenet, this is really the right call to make something interesting and unique. In conclusion, Tenet is definitely an interesting case of a huge blockbuster movie utilizing an underutilized time travel mechanic and taking it to its extreme. I imagine that there are serious barriers to creating media about this kind of thing, but it can be a very useful tool in writing new and interesting stories about time travel. This kind of time travel has been used in only one other prominent feature that I can think of, and that's Primer, which is pretty widely regarded as one of the most confusing time travel movies ever, which I hope to one day have the strength to cover on this channel. If this movie can make a cohesive, easy-to-follow plotline and not overbear the audience with the mechanics of how something like this actually works, I say that it's done a good job, and Tenet has achieved that very well. This is the end of our talk about Tenet, but if there are more interesting things that you want to hear about traveling backwards in time and this kind of mechanic, let me know. I'm open to talking about this more in the future and kind of the consequences of this kind of a universe. Tenet doesn't go as far into depth as I would want out of a show like this, and really just sticks to its roots of it's possible for you to go backwards in time, but the system is deterministic and everything has happened already. There's not a lot more to explore from this sort of scenario, but if you can think of another scenario, let me know and I'm happy to cover that in another video. Thank you for watching. We're going to cover one more movie from 2020 before we review all of 2020 and talk about the time travel media that came out as a whole throughout that entire year. As always, thank you for listening.